The air was thick with the stench of blood and fear. In a dark, damp cell, Giovanna I of Naples lay huddled in a corner, her once luxurious gown now tattered and stained. Her eyes, wide with terror, darted to the heavy iron door as she heard the muffled sounds of a riot outside. The queen, once the most powerful woman in Italy, had fallen from grace. Her enemies, led by her adopted son, Carlo the Short, had betrayed her, and now she was a prisoner in her own kingdom. Giovanna had been a queen since she was a teenager, a position she inherited from her grandfather, Roberto the Wise. Her early years were marked by scandal and intrigue. She had been forced to marry Prince Andras of Hungary, a union that ended in tragedy when he was murdered by her own courtiers. The official story was that he died by hanging, but whispers of a more gruesome fate, strangled and then mutilated, circulated through the palace halls. Giovanna was suspected of orchestrating his death, but no one could prove it. After Andras's murder, Giovanna's life became a series of desperate alliances and power struggles. She married Luigi of Taranto, but their union was plagued by conflict. Luigi was more interested in controlling her than in ruling with her, and their only child died shortly after birth. The Black Death, which had ravaged Europe, added to her woes, forcing her to flee to France when Lajos I of Hungary invaded Naples to avenge his brother's death. Giovanna's fortunes seemed to improve when she returned to Naples and took control once more. She adopted Carlo the Short, the son of her rival, in a bid to secure her position, but Carlo, hungry for power, turned against her. He imprisoned her, and in a final act of betrayal had her murdered. Giovanna's body was displayed in the streets of Naples, a grim reminder of the fleeting nature of power and the dangers of trusting the wrong people. Carlo the Short, now the King of Naples, faced his own challenges. The papacy, under Pope Urban VI, excommunicated him and placed Naples under an interdict, making it a pariah state. Carlo's rule was marked by constant conflict with the papacy and his own nobles. His young son, Ladislao, inherited the throne at a young age, and the kingdom was soon embroiled in a new round of power struggles. Ladislao, known as Ladislao the Magnanimous, managed to hold onto power despite the challenges. He married Marie de Lusignan, the daughter of the King of Cyprus, and tried to expand his influence in Italy. But his ambitions were cut short when he died suddenly, leaving the throne to his sister, Giovanna II. Giovanna II, another strong-willed queen, found herself in a similar predicament to her namesake. She married Jacques de Bourbon, hoping to secure French support, but he turned against her. After a violent uprising, Jacques was forced to leave Naples, and Giovanna took control once more. She adopted Alfonso of Aragon as her heir, but their relationship soon soured. Alfonso arrested Giovanna, and when he released her, she named Luigi III as her heir instead. The cycle of betrayal and power grabs continued as Luigi and Giovanna vied for control. When Luigi died, Giovanna named her brother, René d'Anjou, as her heir. But Alfonso of Aragon, determined to claim the throne, invaded Naples and captured Giovanna. Despite being imprisoned, Giovanna's spirit remained unbroken, and she continued to plot and scheme until her death. The kingdom of Naples, once a beacon of power and influence, was now a land torn apart by internal strife and external threats. The royal family's legacy was one of intrigue, betrayal, and a relentless struggle for control. As the next generation prepared to take the stage, the future of Naples remained uncertain, a land where alliances were fragile and the throne was a prize worth dying for. In the early 12th century, Poland was a land of shifting alliances and fierce rivalries. Boleslaw III, known as the Wry-Mouthed, ruled over a divided kingdom. His sons Zbigniew and Boleslaw initially shared the throne, but their relationship quickly turned sour. Boleslaw, with the help of Kievan and Hungarian forces, launched an attack on Zbigniew in 1106. Zbigniew was forced to surrender Greater Poland and recognize Boleslaw as the High Duke. Eventually, Zbigniew fled to Germany, where the Holy Roman Emperor came to his aid. However, Boleslaw secured his position by marrying Princess Zbyslava of Kiev, and together they defeated the emperor at the Battle of Hunsfeld in 1109. Zbigniew, now a fugitive, continued to raid Poland until a treaty in 1111 allowed him to return. His defiance continued, leading to his blinding and excommunication in 1112, ordered by Boleslaw. Boleslaw III established the seigneurial principle, which meant the High Duke ruled over the other dukes. He also expanded his territories by adding central Poland and Pomerania. After Boleslaw's death in 1138, his eldest son, W. Ladislaw II, became the High Duke. W. Ladislaw divided the lands among his half-brothers, Boleslaw and Mieszko, but this arrangement led to civil war. W. Ladislaw, backed by Rus, Bohemia, and the Holy Roman Empire, initially faced defeat at the Battle of the Pilica River in 1145. It was only with the help of his Kievan-in-laws that he managed to turn the tide and force his half-brothers to back down. W. Ladislaw's reign was further complicated by the powerful Count Palatine, Peter W. Listowik, whose ambitions and influence caused trouble. In 1146, W. Ladislaw had Peter blinded and muted, leading to his excommunication by the Archbishop of Gniezno. Peter fled to Rus and convinced the Kievans to break their alliance with W. Ladislaw, forcing him to seek refuge with Emperor Friedrich Barbarossa. W. Ladislaw's half-brother, Boleslaw IV the Curly, became the High Duke after W. Ladislaw's exile. Boleslaw and his brothers, Mieszko and Henryk, divided Poland among themselves, leaving their youngest brother, Kazimierz, with nothing. When W. Ladislaw died in 1163, Boleslaw honored his promise and gave Silesia to W. Ladislaw's sons. However, this did not prevent them from trying to usurp him. Boleslaw's crusade against the Prussian pagans in 1166 received no support from his brothers. When Henryk died, Kazimierz demanded his brother's lands, but Boleslaw attempted to absorb them. This led to a rebellion by Henryk, supported by Mieszko, and Boleslaw was deposed. Mieszko III the Old became the new High Duke, and Kazimierz received the lands he desired. Boleslaw's situation worsened when his teenage son died in 1172, and he passed away a year later. Mieszko III the Old, now the High Duke, married for a second time in 1177, and made his son Odon from his first marriage a priest to remove him from the succession. However, Odon rebelled, and Kazimierz II the just became the High Duke. Mieszko soon seized part of Greater Poland, and Kazimierz, preoccupied with the battle for the Galician succession, could do nothing. When Duke Leszek of Masovia, Mieszko's nephew, died in 1186, Mieszko tried to claim Greater Poland for himself, but ended up giving it to Kazimierz on Leszek's deathbed. Outraged, Mieszko seized the lands, and Kazimierz, already overburdened, did nothing. Kazimierz led a successful expedition against the Baltic tribes in 1194, but died, possibly poisoned, at the celebration banquet. The barons chose Kazimierz's young son, Leszek the White, to become the High Duke to avoid conflict. However, Mieszko and his son W. Ladislaw Spindleshanks, known for his long, thin legs, still argued over the regency. Mieszko attempted to seize Lower Poland, but was defeated by Leszek's supporters at the Battle of Mazgawa in 1195. Mieszko died in 1202, and W. Ladislaw III became the High Duke. However, when his chief supporter died, he was deposed. Leszek the White was crowned in 1206 and pledged Poland to Pope Innocent III, angering Emperor Friedrich. Pope then excommunicated all the Polish rulers and declared them deposed in 1210, causing turmoil. It later emerged that Henryk the Bearded had anonymously asked the Pope to do it. Leszek, Henryk, Conrad of Masovia, and W. Ladislaw Odonic attended a synod to discuss the problem. During the meeting, Mieszko IV Tanglefoot, son of W. Ladislaw II, seized Krakow and declared himself High Duke. He died a year later, and Leszek's excommunication was lifted, allowing him to return to Krakow. Leszek and his cousin W. Ladislaw III Spindleshanks secretly agreed that the other would be their successor if they died without an heir, cutting W. Ladislaw Odonic, Spindleshanks' nephew, out of their wills. W. Ladislaw Spindleshanks also signed a similar agreement with Henryk the Bearded. Leszek invited dukes, bishops, and nobles to a congress in Gasawa to make peace in 1227. While Conrad and Henryk attended, W. Ladislaw Spindleshanks missed the meeting, saving his life. Swiatopolk II of Pomerania, furious at being denied independence, murdered Leszek and injured Henryk. Suspicion fell on W. Ladislaw Odonic, and the attack sparked a new power struggle for the Polish throne. Spindleshanks captured Odonic in battle in 1228, but Odonik escaped to Plock, and the following year captured Greater Poland with the support of Conrad of Masovia, who was in conflict with Henrik the Bearded. Spindle Shanks had appointed Henrik to govern Krakow, and Henrik had defeated Conrad 3 times. Conrad invited Henrik to discuss a truce and imprisoned him at the meeting, allowing him to seize Lesser Poland and Sandomierz. The elderly Spindle Shanks fled and was murdered by a German girl he tried to rape in 1229, leaving Henrik as his heir. Conrad I seized power, unaware that Spindle Shanks had made Henrik the Bearded his heir. Henrik was released and given Greater and Lesser Poland, only to be defeated by Odonik at Gniezno in 1231. Henrik captured Krakow and became the High Duke in 1233. He then captured Greater Poland and installed his son, Henrik II the Pious, as the area's ruler in 1238. However, Henrik's decision to switch Poland's allegiance from Emperor Friedrich II to Pope Gregory IX backfired when the Mongols invaded Lesser Poland in 1241. Friedrich ignored his calls for help, and although Wenceslaus I of Bohemia sent troops, most of Lesser Poland's nobility were killed in battles at Tursko, Tarczek, and Mielnik. Henrik was defeated and killed at the Battle of Legnica, and his wife identified his decapitated body by the 6 toes on his left foot. Boleslaw II the Horned, son of Henrik the Pious, was appointed Duke of Krakow, but did nothing when Conrad of Masovia seized his lands. He had to hand over power to his nephew 2 years later. Boleslaw V, known as the Chaste because his pious wife, Kinga, a daughter of Bela IV of Hungary, refused to consummate their marriage, rebuilt Krakow. The Mongols returned to destroy it again in 1259. Boleslaw nominated his nephew Leszek as his heir, but his stepmother tried to cut him out of the inheritance to support her own son's claim. She may have also tried to poison him, but she failed. Leszek II the Black, so called because of his dark hair, was appointed High Duke in 1279. However, he had no heir, and his wife Grafina publicly blamed him for not consummating their marriage. They were forced to escape to Hungary when the Mongols returned in 1287, and Leszek never returned. Boleslaw II of Masovia defeated Henrik IV the Righteous, Henry II the Pious's grandson, at the Battle of Suirs in 1289, and then seized Krakow. However, the barons supported Henrik, so Boleslaw was forced to retire to his duchy, where he founded the city that would become Warsaw. Henrik, another ruler who struggled to produce an heir, divorced his first wife, Constance of Opole, after 7 years, claiming she was unable to have children. The real reason was his affair with Matilda of Brandenburg, who became his second wife. Henrik IV sent money to Rome to get approval for his coronation, but some was stolen en route, and Pope Nicholas IV cancelled his promise. The robbers employed a court doctor to poison Henrik IV, but another doctor saved him by inducing vomiting. A second poisoning attempt in 1290 succeeded. Przemysl II of Bohemia, the most powerful Polish duke, succeeded Henrik and gave Krakow to Wenceslaus II and kept the rest. Przemysl obtained the hereditary title of King of Poland in 1295, but was later kidnapped and murdered by nobles in 1296. Wenceslaus II Przemyslid of Bohemia was appointed King of Poland in 1300, and his situation was significantly improved by the newly discovered Bohemian Kutna Hora mine, which produced 20 tons of silver a year. Wenceslaus died in 1305, and although his son Wenceslaus III intended to claim his hereditary right to the Polish throne, he was assassinated after appointing his brother-in-law Henry of Carinthia as his regent. Ladislaw the Short, also known as Elbow High, occupied Lesser Poland and Pomerania in 1304 and gained control of Greater Poland 10 years later. When John of Bohemia claimed the Polish crown and attacked with the Teutonic Knights, Ladislaw drove them off. He was eventually crowned king in 1320, having succeeded in uniting the country, but a war with the Teutonic Order occupied his final years. Kazimierz III the Great reigned from 1333, but had to give privileges to the nobility and pay large amounts of tribute to the Mongols, leaving a ruined economy and a depopulated country. He had 5 daughters, but 3 were of dubious legitimacy due to his bigamy, so Louis I of Hungary succeeded his uncle in 1370. Louis sent his mother Elżbieta to rule Poland on his behalf, but the Poles hated her tax increases and killed all her Hungarian bodyguards, forcing her to flee in 1375. Louis then appointed Ladislaw of Opole as regent of Poland. The Hungarian throne passed to Louis's young daughter, Mary, in 1382. When her fiancé, Sigismund of Luxembourg, tried to seize the throne of Poland, the Poles rejected him and chose Mary's little sister Jadwiga instead. She was crowned King of Poland, because she was a sovereign in her own right. Grand Duke Jagiella of Lithuania agreed to the 1385 Union of Kreva, making peace between the two countries, and he was betrothed to Jadwiga. He was also adopted by Jadwiga's mother, Elżbieta, so he would retain the throne if Jadwiga died. He was baptized Ladislaw II, crowned King of Poland, and made Lithuania convert to Christianity in mass baptisms in 1387. However, the Teutonic Knights claimed his conversion was a sham, and his cousin Alexander, previously Vytautas, started a civil war in Lithuania in 1389. Although Ladislaw allowed him to rule Lithuania as a Polish vassal under the 1392 Treaty of Ostrow, Alexander wanted Lithuania's independence and seized Novgorod in 1398. He also allied with the White Horde, but was defeated by the rest of the Mongols along the Vorskla River in 1399. Alexander finally submitted to Ladislaw to get his support. Jadwiga and their daughter died in childbirth in 1399. Greater Poland opposed the widowed Ladislaw keeping the throne, so in 1402 he married Anna, Kazimierz III the Great's granddaughter, to gain their support. At the same time, Ladislaw's brother, Esvitrigela, appointed himself Grand Duke of Lithuania and declared war with the Teutonic Knights' support. The war ended with the 1404 Peace of Racias, but Ladislaw and Vytautas organized an uprising in the Teutonic territories, so the Knights retaliated by attacking Poland in 1409. Ladislaw claimed the Teutonic Order was trying to conquer the world when they called for a crusade. Although he agreed on a mutual defensive treaty with Wenceslaus IV of Bohemia, Sigismund of Hungary chose to ally with the Knights. They clashed at the Battle of Grunwald or Tannenberg in 1410, and the Teutonic Order's army was virtually annihilated. The 1411 Peace of Thorn called for the Knights to pay huge ransoms and fines, and the 1413 Union of Horodlo brought Lithuania and Poland closer together. The Teutonic Knights used scorched earth tactics against the Poles in the Hunger War of 1414, but the Council of Constance was a turning point in the Teutonic Crusades. The Poles wanted an end to the forced conversions, advocating for people to be baptized in water and not with blood. The Bohemians offered their throne to Ladislaw after the Bohemian Hussites revolted against Sigismund, but Ladislaw disagreed with their terms. Ladislaw's nephew, Sigismund Kori, but tried in vain to rule Bohemia. Vytautas accepted a crown from Rome in 1429, but the coronation was cancelled because the Poles intercepted it. Meanwhile, Ladislaw defeated the Teutonic Order in the Short Golub War in 1422, and the Treaty of Melno settled the border between Prussia and Lithuania. Ladislaw then supported his brother, Esvitrigela, when he claimed Lithuania, but Esvitrigela rebelled against Polish overlordship, and Vytautas's brother, Sigismund, was elected Grand Duke instead in 1432. Ladislaw died in 1434, and young Ladislaw III, the son of Ladislaw II and his fourth wife, Sophia of Halshany, was crowned. A challenge by Frederick of Brandenburg was stopped by betrothing him to Ladislaw's half-sister Hedwig, but she was poisoned, possibly by Ladislaw's mother. Ladislaw chose not to marry and had no children, leaving him open to allegations about his sexuality. Nonetheless, he was offered the crown of Hungary, after Albert the Magnanimous was killed by the Ottomans in 1440. Cardinal Olsnicki ran the country while Ladislaw concentrated on fighting the Ottomans. However, he died at the Battle of Varna in 1444, and the Ottomans displayed his head on a pole as his army fled. Ladislaw's brother, Kazimierz IV, was crowned in 1447 and assisted the Prussian Confederation against the Teutonic Order in 1454, eventually establishing Polish overlordship over the Teutonic state. In 1466, he agreed to the Second Peace of Thorn at the end of the 13 Years' War, securing Polish sovereignty over the western Prussian regions. Kazimierz would die in 1492, leaving behind a legacy of significant territorial and political achievements. In the 13th century, the Teutonic Knights were a powerful military and religious order, often tasked with defending and expanding Christian territories in Eastern Europe. The Hungarians initially invited them to protect their borders from the Cumans, but the Hungarian nobles grew wary of the Knights' growing power and expelled them in 1225. Seeking new lands to conquer, the Knights were then invited by Conrad I of Masovia to fight the pagan Prussians in 1230. This marked the beginning of their significant presence in the Baltic region. Hermann von Salza, the Grand Master at the time, faced internal conflicts and political challenges, leading him to retire in 1238. The order's next Grand Master, Conrad von Thuringen, died during a trip to Rome, and his successor, Gerhard von Malberg, received a ring from Pope Innocent IV, symbolizing Prussia as a papal fief. However, Gerhard's leadership was weak, and he eventually transferred to the Knights Templar in 1244. The order continued to face internal strife and external challenges. Heinrich von Hohenlohe supported Emperor Friedrich II in his conflict with Pope Innocent IV, which led to his downfall and death in 1249. Gunther von Wallersleben, appointed as the next Grand Master, also struggled to reconcile the Pope and the Emperor, wasting valuable time and resources. Popo von Osterna, chosen by the majority of the Knights, led the order in a series of campaigns against the Prussians with the support of Bohemian forces. However, the order was divided, with a minority supporting Wilhelm von Eurenbach. Despite these divisions, they managed to make significant progress in Prussia. Burchard von Schwanden, appointed in 1282, focused on northern Europe while the situation in Jerusalem worsened. A Lithuanian invasion devastated Livonia in 1287, and Pope Nicholas IV helped establish new borders to maintain peace. When the Crusaders in Acre were under siege, Schwanden reluctantly joined them, but soon transferred to the Knights Hospitaller. Conrad von Feuchtwangen became Grand Master during the fall of Acre in 1291, the last Christian stronghold in the Holy Land. He moved the order's headquarters to Venice. His successor, Gottfried von Hohenlohe, did little before resigning, but Siegfried von Feuchtwangen seized the Danzig region in 1308, making the Teutonic Knights a major rival to Poland. To avoid the influence of the Holy Roman Empire and the Pope, they moved their headquarters to Marienburg Castle. Karl Bessart von Trier, the next Grand Master, faced criticism for limiting the Knights' trade and was forced to resign in 1318. Werner von Orseln, appointed after him, failed to negotiate with Poland over Danzig and was assassinated by a deranged knight named Johann von Indorf. Luther von Braunschweig and Dietrich von Altenburg continued the order's campaigns, with Dietrich negotiating peace at the Congress of Weissgrad. However, the order was ordered to surrender Polish lands in 1339 by Pope Benedict VIII. Ludolf König von Watz made peace with Poland through the Treaty of Callus and then invaded Lithuania in 1343, hoping to connect their territories. Heinrich Dusimer von Arfberg and Winrich von Niprod led the order for the next 40 years, fighting against Lithuania. Winrich's successful campaign culminated in the Battle of Rudau in 1370. Konrad Zollner von Rothenstein focused on colonizing the order's lands, while Konrad von Wallenrode continued the fight against the Lithuanians. When Jagiella, the Grand Duke of Lithuania, converted to Christianity in 1387, it removed the Knights' pretext for attacking Lithuania. However, Konrad stirred up trouble by creating divisions between the Lithuanian dukes, Vaitadas and Jagiella. Konrad von Jungen, the next Grand Master, conquered the island of Gotland in 1398, but died in 1407. His brother, Ulrich, invaded Poland in 1409 with Hungarian support, but the Lithuanian Duke Vaitadas allied with Poland, leading to the Teutonic Order's defeat at the Battle of Grunwald in 1410. Many senior knights were killed or captured, and the order suffered a significant blow. Heinrich von Plauen, who missed the battle, managed to prevent the invaders from capturing Marienburg Castle. He rallied support from the Livonian Order and Germany to repel the invaders. Heinrich blamed the Lizard Union for the defeat and had Nicholas von Renais executed, declaring the union illegal. The Peace of Thorn in 1411 required the order to pay a large ransom for its prisoners, leaving it in financial difficulties. Heinrich asked Emperor Sigismund to mediate, and the amount was reduced. However, Heinrich's desire to attack Poland led to his deposition by Michael Kuchmeister von Sternberg in 1413. Michael failed to make peace with Poland and resigned in 1422. Paul von Rusdorf, Konrad von Ehrlichausen, and Ludwig von Ehrlichausen enjoyed a period of peace until the Prussian Confederation asked Kazimierz IV of Poland to support their claim for independence in 1454. This led to the 13 Years' War, where the Knights were defeated on land and sea. Ludwig was forced to sell the Neumark region to Brandenburg, and the order's headquarters to Kazimierz, moving to Königsberg. The order surrendered Western Prussia, and became Polish vassals under the Second Peace of Thorn in 1466. Meanwhile, in Lithuania, Mindaugas, the first Grand Duke, faced challenges from the Teutonic Knights and the Mongols. He converted to Christianity and was crowned king in 1251, but after the Battle of Derb in 1260, he returned to paganism. He was assassinated in 1263 by Treniota and Dalmantas, who turned Lithuania back to paganism. Traidenis, who re-established a pagan state, expanded west and defeated the Livonian order in several battles before his death in 1282. Vytenis, crowned in 1295, allied with Boleslaw II against W. Ladislaw I in Poland and recaptured lost territories. He defeated the Livonian order at the Battle of Tirada and allied with the Teutonic Knights to capture Pomerania from Poland in 1308. Gediminas, who murdered Vytenis around 1315, allied with the Tatars against the Teutonic Knights and founded Vilnius. He expanded into western Russia and parts of Galicia-Volhynia, but his rule ended in a coup d'etat in 1341. Joanides, who embraced Christianity, was overthrown by his brothers Algirdas and Kestudes, who ruled the Ruthenian and northwestern territories, respectively. Kestudes defeated the Tatars and tried to capture Moscow, while Algirdas converted to Roman Catholicism and made peace with the Livonian order. Jogaila, crowned Grand Duke in 1377, ruled the Ruthenian territories, while Kestudes ruled the northwest. The relationship between Jogaila and Kestudes was strained, and Kestudes was imprisoned and murdered in 1382. Vytautas, Kestudes' son, escaped to the Teutonic Knights and was baptized. Jogaila married Jadwiga of Poland, becoming W. Ladislaw II, but faced opposition from the Polish nobility. Vytautas was appointed to rule Lithuania in 1392, and he expanded the Grand Duchy's territory to stretch from the Baltic to the Black Sea. The strained relationship between Poland and Lithuania was restored after Jadwiga's death in 1399. Vytautas and Jogaila united to defeat the Teutonic Knights at the Battle of Grunwald in 1410. However, disputes over the Peace of Thorn and further campaigns with the Teutonic Knights continued. Despite these challenges, the Union of Horodlo in 1413 tied Lithuania to Poland, allowing them to elect their Grand Duke while remaining a separate entity. Vytautas was named King of Lithuania in 1429, but died before receiving his crown. In the turbulent lands of Eastern Europe, the stories of power, betrayal, and resilience unfold like a tapestry woven with threads of gold and blood. One such story is that of Svitrigaila, a man who sought to reclaim his throne with the support of the Mongols. However, the Teutonic Knights thwarted his ambitions at the Battle of Pabuskas in 1435. Despite his defeat, Svitrigaila did not give up. He fled to Poland hoping to rally support, but when that failed, he sought refuge in Wallachia. The political landscape shifted dramatically when Sigismund, the current ruler, was assassinated by Svitrigaila's supporters in 1440. However, Svitrigaila was too old to take the throne, and the crown passed to Kazimierz, the brother of W. Ladislaw III of Poland. This marked the beginning of a long reign by the House of Jagiellon over Lithuania, a rule that would last for over a century. Moving westward, the Principality of Galicia-Volhynia was a land of intrigue and conflict. When Yaroslav of Galicia died in 1187, his sons, Oleg and Vladimir, faced a formidable enemy in Prince Roman of Vladimir. Roman, a cunning and ambitious man, urged the Galicians to poison Oleg and exile Vladimir. He then took control of Halych, only to give it to his brother Vice Evelod. Vladimir, determined to reclaim his birthright, sought help from Hungary. However, Bela III of Hungary had his own plans and installed his son, Andrew, as the ruler of Galicia. Roman, undeterred, sought support from his father-in-law and eventually recaptured Galicia. Roman's ambitions did not stop there. In 1195, he received more territories from Uruk, but he was dissatisfied with his share. He convinced Yaroslav II of Chernigov to capture Kiev, but Uruk, aware of the plot, warned Vice Evelod. Roman, now a fugitive, sought help from Poland but was wounded in battle. He had to turn to his father-in-law for mercy. The death of Vladimir II in 1198 marked a turning point. Leszek of Poland supported Roman in defeating his rivals, and by 1199, Roman had merged Galicia and Volhynia into a single principality. However, his rule was marked by conflicts and betrayals. He imprisoned his father-in-law, sent his wife and daughter to a convent, and placed his sons in dungeons. This ruthless behavior eventually turned his allies against him. In 1205, Roman was killed fighting the Poles at the Battle of Zewichos. The barons forced his wife and infant son, Daniel, into exile and proclaimed one of their own as prince. However, the Poles and Hungarians soon invaded, pretending to support Daniel but instead dividing Galicia and forcing him to renounce his claim. Daniel, however, was not defeated. He established rule over Volhynia in 1221, and by 1238 had recaptured most of Galicia. He captured Kiev the following year, but the Mongols razed the city to the ground. After the Mongols withdrew, Daniel reclaimed the rest of the principality and established relations with Poland and Hungary, effectively ending the principality of Galicia-Volhynia. Daniel's son, Sh. Varn, and Leo, his other son, inherited his lands. Sh. Varn invaded Lesser Poland, but was defeated by Boleslaw V the Chaste. Sh. Varn also supported Vaisvilkas in Lithuania after Mindaugas's assassination in 1263. Vaisvilkas, wanting to return to monastic life, gave Lithuania to Sh. Varn. However, Leo, feeling betrayed, murdered Vaisvilkas in 1268. Sh. Varn's rule in Lithuania was short-lived, and after his death in 1269, control passed to a noble named Traidenis. Leo, now free to pursue his ambitions, allied with Wenceslaus II of Bohemia to invade Poland and annex part of Hungary in 1279. He extended his territories to the south, and by 1292 had defeated Poland and seized the Lublin area. Leo's reign marked the height of Ruthenia's power. However, after his death in 1301, his sons struggled to maintain their empire. George was killed fighting the Lithuanians in 1321, and Leo II and Andrew died defending their territories in 1323. The boyars, seeing the decline of the royal line, took control and initially allied with Poland and the Teutonic Knights against the Golden Horde. However, they soon feared that Ladislaw I the Elbow High wanted to take over and sought Mongol support. In 1323, the boyars invited Boleslaw, the Duke of Mazovia, to rule Ruthenia. Boleslaw, renaming himself Jersey, became unpopular after introducing Magdeburg law and town privileges. His unpopularity grew when he offered to make Kazimierz III of Poland his heir in 1338. The boyars, fed up with his rule, poisoned him in 1340, and by 1349, Poland had annexed Ruthenia, ending a century of vassalage to the Mongols. Kazimierz III the Great ruled until his death in 1370, and his grandson, Louis I the Great of Hungary, became King of Poland. After Louis I's rule, his daughter Mary and then her sister Hedwig ruled, and by 1399, Ruthenia became an integral part of the Kingdom of Poland. To the east, the land of the Rus was a complex tapestry of principalities. The Grand Prince of Kiev was the most senior ruler, but the title often passed through conflict and intrigue. Yaroslav the Wise died in 1054, leaving his realm divided among his sons, Izyaslav, Sviatoslav, and Vice Evelod. The brothers faced numerous challenges, including invasions by the Cuman hordes and conflicts with their cousin, Viseslav. Izyaslav was deposed by the Kivans, who favored Viseslav, but he later reclaimed the throne with help from his son-in-law, Boleslaw the Bold. Pope Gregory VII crowned Izyaslav, making him the first king of Rus. The throne passed through a series of rulers, each facing their own challenges. Sviatopolk's son, Izyaslav, allied with Vladimir against the Kipchaks but was defeated. Vladimir, invited by the Kivans, ruled until his death in 1113, succeeded by his son. Mstislav, the last ruler of a united kingdom, faced attacks from multiple fronts and died in 1132, marking the end of a united Rus. The Principality of Kiev saw a series of conflicts and power struggles. Vsevolod of Chernigov and the Cumans looted Kiev, and Yaropolk was defeated. Vyacheslav succeeded his brother Yaropolk, but was soon driven out. Vsevolod II, Oleg's son, and his nephew Izyaslav II jointly ruled Kiev. Vsevolod II's death in 1146 led to a series of upheavals, including the murder of Igor and the rise of Yuri I, known as Long Arms for his extensive influence. Yuri's nephew Izyaslav drove him out, and the title of Grand Prince of Russia passed between several rulers. The Grand Princes of Vladimir emerged as a new center of power. Andrew I the God-loving, also known as the Scythian Caesar, plundered Kiev and moved his capital to Vladimir. He increased the prince's authority, leading to his assassination in 1174. His half-brother Mikhail took over, but was soon challenged by the Kievan boyars. Vsevolod III, known as Big Nest for his numerous children, succeeded in 1176. He controlled Novgorod and Kiev through strategic marriages and military campaigns. However, his sons, Konstantin and Yuri, fought for power, and the Mongol invasion in 1223 marked a new era of conflict. Yuri refused to seek Mongol help, and was killed at the Battle of the Sit River in 1238. Yaroslav II, appointed Grand Prince, rebuilt Vladimir and sought Mongol approval. His brother, Andrew, and others visited the Blue Horde, but Andrew was made Grand Duke instead. Yaroslav died on his return journey, and Andrew was killed fighting the Lithuanians. Alexander, Yaroslav's son, signed a peace treaty with Norway and invaded Finland and Estonia. However, he was forced to submit to the Mongols and pay tribute. Andrew, seeking to reclaim his lands, joined the Mongols and drove Dmitri, Alexander's son, from Vladimir. The conflict between Andrew and Dmitri continued for years, with Andrew ultimately forced to retire to a monastery. The rise of Moscow as a power center began with Yuri of Moscow, who seized Vladimir. Takht Khan appointed Mikhail Grand Prince, but Yuri, with Mongol support, deposed him. Mikhail defeated Yuri and captured his wife, but he was executed by the Mongols for allegedly poisoning her. Yuri's son, Ivan, known as the Moneybag for his wealth and power, was appointed Grand Prince. Ivan used his wealth to annex neighboring territories, and became a key ally of the Mongols. His son, Simon the Proud, succeeded him but faced challenges, including the Black Death, which claimed his life in 1353. The Grand Princes of Moscow continued to expand their power, with Simon's successor, Ivan the Moneybag, using his wealth and alliances to solidify Moscow's influence. The complex web of alliances and conflicts in these lands shaped the future of Eastern Europe, laying the foundation for the rise of powerful states like Poland and Russia. The story of the Grand Princes of Moscow and the Kingdom of Hungary is a tale of power, intrigue, and the relentless pursuit of control over vast territories. In Russia, the rise of Moscow under Dmitri Donsky marked a significant shift in the balance of power. Dmitri, known as Donsky for his victory over the Mongols at the Battle of Kulikovo, expanded Moscow's influence and territory, paving the way for his successors. His son, Vasily I, continued this legacy by allying with Lithuania and using the wealth from tribute to strengthen his army. However, Vasily's reign was marred by Mongol raids and a long-deferred submission to the Golden Horde. The civil war that erupted during Vasily II's reign was a brutal struggle for power. Vasily's uncle, Yuri, contested his rule, leading to a series of battles and betrayals. Despite these challenges, Vasily eventually regained control, but the conflict left a lasting scar on the Muscovite nobility. Vasily's son, Ivan III, known as the Gatherer of the Russian lands, tripled the territory of Moscow through conquest, purchase, and marriage. Ivan's marriage to Sophia, the daughter of the last Byzantine emperor, brought not only prestige but also the Byzantine court's etiquette to Moscow, solidifying its status as a major power. Ivan's reign marked the end of the Golden Horde's dominance over the Rus, and the beginning of a new era of Russian unity. In the southeast of Europe, the Kingdom of Hungary faced its own tumultuous history. The struggle between Christianity and paganism was a defining feature of early Hungarian politics. King Istvan's efforts to solidify Christianity were met with resistance, but his successors, such as Andras and Bela, managed to establish a more stable Christian kingdom. The rivalry between Bela and his nephews, Salaman and Geza, led to a series of battles and political maneuvers that ultimately resulted in Geza's victory and the ascension of Laszlo to the throne. Laszlo's reign was marked by his expansion into Croatia and his defiance of the Byzantine Empire. His successor, Konevs, continued the policy of balancing power between the empire and the papacy, but his reign was also marked by internal conflict and the blinding of his brother Olmos to secure the throne for his son, Istvan II. Istvan II's reign was characterized by his military campaigns and his eventual reconciliation with his blinded uncle, Bela, whom he made his heir. The subsequent reigns of Bela, Geza, and Istvan III were marked by ongoing struggles with the Byzantine Empire and internal challenges from other claimants. Geza's efforts to support his relatives in their struggles for power in neighboring lands, such as Serbia and Kiev, often led him into conflict with the Byzantines. Istvan III's reign was particularly tumultuous, with multiple challenges to his rule from his brothers and the Byzantine Empire. The reign of Bela III brought a period of relative stability and economic prosperity to Hungary. Bela's successful campaigns against the Byzantines and his alliance with Austria helped to secure his throne and expand his territories. His son Imre and his brother Andras continued the cycle of conflict and rivalry, but eventually peace was restored under Imre's rule. The stories of these rulers, both in Moscow and Hungary, are a testament to the resilience and ambition of medieval leaders. Their struggles and triumphs shaped the political landscape of Eastern Europe and laid the foundations for the powerful states that would emerge in the centuries to come.